Welcome back. So if you've downloaded the code from the GitHub repo that I kind of point to in the description, you have both the functions available up here, and then you pretty much also have the actual Angular app available down here. So we can now use the Angular app to start working and fixing this issue so we don't do two different requests to upload a file. We only need one now because the functions will take care of creating the file metadata for me. I just need to upload the actual file to the backend. So let's try and have a look at what we're going to do this lesson. We're going to remove these two requests and make them into a single request. And the request that we're going to focus on is sending the actual file and removing this part up here. And then the send file will then take the file and break it apart and put information in FireStore and the file in FireStorage. So that's kind of the goal for this lesson. And I have that running app right here, so this is where we're going to try and test it. Good, let's jump back to the code right here. First of all, right now what I'm doing is happening inside, remember we have the product add component right here, which is pretty much this page. When I press the add button, you have to remember that I go into add product right here inside the TypeScript code, and this is actually where it all happens. Now the first thing you should notice is there'll be no changes here. No changes. If I made my structure well enough, all changes that happens because it's data changes, all of it, should happen inside my services, the product service and the file service. And let's see if we can live with that. So first of all, let's jump into the add product with image in the product service. Now this guy seems to check some validations about the metadata. That's perfectly fine. Then it goes and tries to upload the actual file, and then it tries to create our new product with a specific ID. Now the ID will change compared to what we had before, so we'll have to figure that part out in a second. But let's try and jump into the upload image because that's the first thing that happens. Now the upload image creates a blob for now. Let's keep that, so it'll convert the blob into a file for now. Perfect stuff, we'll change that later. And then it'll upload the file. So there's still no communication with Firebase yet. But the first communication happens right here when we call the add file metadata. We don't need to do that anymore because that's now functions job on Firebase, not my job in Angular. So what I'll do is pretty much remove everything right here, all of this right here for creating the metadata, gone. All of this right here, gone. All I need to do is kind of return a defer or return a promise right here that kind of takes care of actually uploading the actual file. That's all I have to do, and then I'm done, right? Now there are some things you'll notice right here. First of all, we don't have a unique identifier anymore from the metadata, so we'll have to generate one right here. But luckily, you can make a unique ID very simple by saying this.firebase database Angular FireStore create ID, and then you actually have a unique identifier, and we can then use that unique identifier right here, boom, and we're done. It's that simple. Now the second thing that it seems that we need is to return some kind of metadata to the guy using this when we're done, and that file metadata needs to contain all the information about the actual file. For now, we're just going to return the file ref right here. That's not enough, but that's where we're going to start to get this up and running again. Now again, that pretty much means that I can completely remove this now. I don't need to add file metadata anymore, so that function is gone. Look how simple this is now. I just removed an entire part of my upload function and removed that responsibility to Firebase. I'm not quite done yet. If you guys remember, I needed to actually send some kind of name for the file inside some metadata. So let's jump into our TypeScript file up here again, the index TypeScript file in functions. You notice that I grabbed some original name from the metadata right here. How do we pass that metadata when we create a file on Firebase? Luckily, it's extremely simple. So let's try and jump back to the file service and say, when I put this file up there, I want to add some custom metadata. Pretty much just adding an object right here. That's for explaining there's some metadata. If I want to add some custom metadata, I have to, inside that object, add the first property. And that property is called custom metadata. This is something Firebase decided, so you have to put in that name. And in there, you can actually add all the different metadata attributes you wanted. Now, I only want one for now. And that one is actually going to be, whoops, let's just go and grab it again. It needs to be this name, original name, needs to be the same exact name, right? Original name. And there I'll just put in the file's original name right here. There we go. So that's pretty much all I had to do to kind of also upload some metadata to Firebase. It's freaking simple, man. I like it. So now we have hopefully something sent to Firebase with the original name. Now when we're done, we're going to get something back, and what we're getting back is actually going to be returned all the way back to our observable that's triggered in the product service. Now we are going to have a problem right here because we're not going to get anything back with an ID right now because I didn't set up my system for that. But just to kind of hack this for now and make it work, I know that what I'm getting back, I can get the ID like this by saying UID, or let's just say fileref.id, like this. I can actually get that ID by saying fileref, like this, dot metadata, like this, dot name. That'll actually bring me that ID that I want. But I can actually do it even simpler right now because I have the unique identifier right here. So why not just use that? Oh, good idea. So just add that as the ID right here. Now what it'll return is actually just an object containing an ID. And all I'm using that for right now is inside my product service. I say, give me that object's ID and use it as the picture ID before you add the product. So that should be it. That should be all I had to do. Now it should work. Let's try and check it out. Jumping in here, picking a name, Smurf. I'm going to find a Smurf somewhere on my picture. I know there's a Smurf here. Where are you hiding? There's a Smurf over there. Did you see it? Okay, you have to be faster next time. Now I added the Smurf and boom, I'm back. I got a new Smurf right here. It's this guy. He got a unique identifier. If I go to my FireStore right here, let's just jump in there and I check out, let's start out FireStore. You'll see that there's actually a files created right here. I can't remember which was the name, so let's start out with the product, then we can find the Smurf first. So here's the Smurf with a unique identifier, gset something. I'll go into files and find gset something. There it is, that's the file, and then I'll go into the storage as the final thing to show that that was actually also created. So let's go into the storage right here, pictures, gset something. There it is, there's the actual picture we just selected, just showing the small branch right there. Amazing. What else can we see? Well, if we jump into the functions, we can actually see what happened because I added a couple of breakpoints in the functions while you guys, or some console logs, while you guys weren't watching. I added a console log just showing I uploaded the file, another console log just showing the name before and after. I kind of split it up, and that's pretty much it. So let's try and see what we actually got. If we jump back right here to the functions, you can go and you can see logs. I only want to see the logs for that single function. I don't care about the others right now. So I'll just go and select log for upload new image, done. And hopefully I'll get some information right here. So here are the console logs for that upload, and you'll notice first of all you'll see the full uploaded object is right here with all the information there is for the object or the file that was uploaded. The second thing you'll see is I call this is the name of the object before I split it. So this is the name product picture slash gset something, just like I expected in my code. If we go in here, you'll see this is the name before gset something, right? And then I put in, I only want the last part of that, right? And then I use that name to save the information inside FireStore. And then I set the file metadata that we created up here. And then as the final thing, I just result back that I'm done, and we can change this later. But that's kind of how easy it was. I hope you like it because it's freaking simple. So see you next time where we'll play around with this even more. There are a few things that can bug out right here, like what if the file separator isn't in the correct location, stuff like that. If you have multiple folders under folders, we've not at all taken care of that problems yet, but we can look at that later if needed. That's it for this lesson. See you next time. Have fun.